Hello and good afternoon, and this is happy Saturday from Mighty Migs. You can call me Coach Migs, but today I'm the host of this Passion for Acting podcast, and featuring a special guest here. It's Chelsea Widdicombe. How are you?
Hi, McGill. How you going?
Pretty good, yep. But before we go further ahead with the questions and the interview, I'd like to mention that this is actually sponsored by Sydney Actors Association. And if you want to check on their Instagram page on the description box below, if you're watching this on YouTube, please follow them. And if you're an actor actually looking to sharpen your craft in any way, shape, or form, this could be the right place for you to do so. And just tell them that Miguel and even Chelsea sent you from Passion for Acting podcast. Okay, so without further ado, give us an introduction about yourself, Chelsea.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Widdicombe. I'm based in Sydney as an actor, voiceover artist. I also have a podcast called Holistic Home because by trade, I am an interior designer and decorator. So
Awesome.
lots of things going on, but it keeps life interesting.
Oh, look at that! You know, you're a jack of all trades in that aspect. Huh? So tell me a little bit more about the introduction. So, interior designing, does that go hand in hand well in your own way as an actor as well?
Look, I think as an actor, you have to have things that you have to have a base kind of job that you're involved in as well, because acting is so weird and all over the place that I think it's really important to have a base of something else. So like that's my qualification, that's my base, and it is something that I'm also passionate about. And I think interior design really impacts your well-being. It's about your space and really how it makes you feel. And it keeps me on the road talking to people, which I think is always great influence for your acting. Because I mean, I work in retail as well in a homeware store, and I think that has been the best acting training I've had because you're dealing with people all day, every day, and you're interacting with all sorts. And sometimes I walk out of a shift going, I think I've got some new character inspiration today.
That's amazing, because some people can get it from video games, or they just see a car that drives by. Oh my gosh, I'm going to put that in a movie somehow. But you do it in your
Mm.
retail. It's like, okay, that good conversation I had with that nice lady, or that altercation I had with that other lady the other day about not having the product. You can use that in a scene. You know what I mean? Because as cheesy as it
Yeah,
sounds, I
it's
mean,
like
these keep talking. Yep.
it's all in those small moments, it's everyday moments. Sometimes like the boring things end up being great storytelling. So
Oh, big time. Yeah, big time, big time. Yeah. You ever heard of Big Trouble in Little China? It's an action movie that was actually made in the late 80s. Have you heard of that?
I haven't, no.
Okay, well, I'll send you the link later on Messenger, and the link to the actual trailer if you want to watch it. If you're into that kind of martial arts or just the fancy kind of movies, this could be the one for you that you can watch tonight after your dad's birthday party, or what you call, or even tomorrow. But or have you at least heard Mortal Kombat?
Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
Have you heard of Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat the game.
Yes.
Okay, so that Mortal Kombat, the very first Mortal Kombat game was actually inspired by Big Trouble in Little China. So that's just a long story
Ah,
short.
there you
Yes,
go. Again, all those little connections. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Expand your creativity. Even you as an interior designer, you probably even what I bet you. I could be wrong, but analyzing the background that I'm in, you probably analyzing. Oh, okay, I can get inspiration from that. But if I was there, I'd do this instead. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think you've got to really use your imagination, whether it be like sometimes I do commercial interior design as well. And I think you've really say you're going into an office space, you've got to imagine, okay, I am this career, what are my relationships with the people who are in this office or this space, and how are they going to use it, how are they going to interact with it? And really, I think that is like the work of an actor, and really comes down to storytelling and making sure it's authentic to those people. So I think it's really intertwined, and that's also what makes it so fun and so creative.
Exactly. I mean, it's just all about the process of having fun. Because if it's not fun, why do it, right? Because
Yeah.
because actors like us, we're dedicated to our craft, and the good thing about it is when we're either working on our passion projects, or when we get an actual acting gig that we audition for, like a commercial, TV show, or whatnot, we're just grateful to be there. We may
Yeah.
feel like crap because we had lack of sleep, or we may feel like crap from the previous day of filming. But we always remind ourselves, oh, it's better than working at that odd job that's just around the corner when I was stacking shelves in the supermarket or just dealing with nagging customers, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but every little bit counts, you know. I mean, I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm pretty sure you've had some
Yeah,
good
it's
ones.
a good reminder. I think sometimes in those moments, those everyday moments where it can feel a bit of a drag, or you got to think it's all for the passion. It all comes down, like everything is leading to those bigger projects, or really making those dreams the reality that you dream of. So
Mm. And it's character building as well, you know, because
definitely.
you've heard of so many actors, like, you know, after a little while of pursuing acting and became successful, then they blew it, you know what I mean? Like antics on
Hmm.
set, outside of set, like, you know, they don't, you know, spend their money wisely, or they just act like they're in control of everything, including directing. So, yeah, it's just one of those things. Yeah. So, but speaking of which, going back to your interior designing thing, what interests me about that is that, you know, from your perspective anyway, is that you can be a DOP for that, or you can give ideas to the DOP. Am I correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in so many aspects, again, it's intertwined so much, and I think it gives you that establishing lens of how something can look, because I think very visual, and the visualization is so high, so then that can translate to DOP and creating, like, establishing these beautiful scenes, whether that be in a film or in reality.
Oh, of course, of course. I mean, see this office here that I'm using. I've used this for a few passion projects, even like, you know, a couple of friends of mine, even that feature film, indie feature film that I was in, that I just starred in, what do you call it, Unseen Enemy. Um, they've used this office for a scene, for a couple of scenes actually. So, and the amazing thing is when the DOP is here, this is it. Okay, the sunlight's coming this way. I don't want this here. This has to be there. Blah blah blah. And I lose track. I'm like, okay, where are we at?
Yeah, that's really cool, actually. Like, just looking at what's around you and how can this work? Because I mean, I don't know. I think when you think of a scene in a shop or something, the best way to do it is to use a real one of that, because you've got the counter and then you've got what's behind it, and so it feels more real, feels more authentic. So, and how can you use that from the point of view as a DOP? So it's really
Of
cool.
course, of
Especially, it's cool
course.
that you get to use that for your passion projects. I've definitely loved following you along on those. It's cool to see it, come from the idea into life.
Oh, look, I appreciate that. Yeah, because this is one of those things that keeps me driven. You know, I'm pretty sure you do your own things and keeping yourself being driven in this aspect, right? But passion projects are one of those things that I know I'm in control of to a certain extent. I usually give it to the director's advice or opinion of what can and can go wrong in the actual day, or what can work and what can't work, right? But you know, it keeps my passion flowing, you know, because I see it from a different perspective. But you know, while I'm auditioning for bigger and better things, I like to do these things because, like, what if I don't get an audition for like at least a few weeks? You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
happened. Yeah, you know, because it comes in batches. You know, there's sometimes I get once a week, a few a week, once a fortnight, a few a fortnight, and sometimes just once a month. But it varies. But this is what keeps my passion alive. And just like the same thing with you, I'm pretty sure you do your acting courses and all that stuff. But leading to the next question here, Chelsea, what inspired you to become an actor, and who inspires you to keep going?
I am just such a lover of stories and storytelling. And I always had this big imagination as a kid. And I didn't even realize that it related to acting sometimes. It was just me, like, being outside and creating stories in my head, and having fun and having this big sense of play. And of course, I always enjoyed drama and movies and, like, theater as well. And I just realized it all comes down to storytelling. Like, I'm someone who, when I hear a song, it's like I see the music video in my head. It's just because, I mean, I particularly love country music, and I find I that I'm drawn to that because its storytelling aspect is just so visual. And I really think that's what draws me to acting is it is this overall story. And you know, again, interior design, when I'm working with my clients, it's about telling their story as well. So I think I try to base like my whole life around being like expressing yourself and your story.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's actually storytelling because one of my
Mm.
original acting coaches, Daniel Sesson, you are part of the story. So whatever you role you're playing, okay, so whatever it is, you are part of that story. And when it's your time to shine, you got to tell the story in your own way, whether you're playing the protagonist or the antagonist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just your time to tell the story, and that's the side of Chelsea that's playing the character.
Yeah,
Because
and I
um,
think
keep talking.
and I think you have to e the best stories come from truth as well. And I think it comes from sometimes stopping putting on airs and just do what's in your heart and use real life emotions, use real life experiences, whether that's dealing with a Karen in a shop or an interaction with a best friend or something you've gone through, and use that to tell the story because it's going to make the audience feel so much more connected as well.
Yeah, yeah, because my current acting coach said it's just they watch a movie not to watch us as performers. They
Yeah.
came there to watch themselves. How can they relate to that? Because whatever
Yes.
character you're playing, whatever character I'm playing, if they don't, if they can't relate to it, they're not going to get moved. It's like, what the hell is he talking about, or what the hell is she talking about? Because they came to see not us, but more of themselves, how they can relate to that character that we're portraying. Just like if you're going through a hard time, like a breakup and all that stuff, and you're crying on set or on screen, a lot of women, even guys, can relate to that. Oh yes, it hurts. It's like a dagger in the heart, But they can relate to that. You know what I mean? But there are challenges, like for example, have you seen that short film in where I was performing in US dialect, Broken Badge? I was playing a crooked cop. Have you seen that?
I think I have, yes.
Okay, so long story short, I had to asked help from my one of my original acting coaches, Daniel Sesson, right? And I
Yeah.
said, Coach, look, read the script. I would love to play this role. And the reason why I wanted to play the crooked cop is because my favorite movie of all time is called Training Day. Where Denzel Washington plays a crooked cop. And I said, look, Coach, this is a very sinister character. How do I play? I don't think I'm a sinister person in real life. How do I play a bad guy? And then, we researched it together during an acting lessons just like this online because he lives out in the mountains. So face to face wasn't really, and plus, like this is just like in the middle of the first lockdown as well. And what
Oh
happened
gosh,
was,
yeah.
yeah, and that was really convenient in that context. But anyway, he just goes, okay, so this is a crooked cop. Let's study crooked cops. What are their motives? So each crooked cop in history has had different motives of why they're crooked: money,
Mm.
exploitation, or abuse of power towards women or even men, or just like they want to, stab people in the back so they can get higher up the ranks and all that stuff. So what is the motive of the crooked cop? And the other one is like serial killers, because this is a crooked cop who's also a serial killer. And if you watch the context, that victim that Samantha Camilleri played, was it? That's not the first victim. You know what I mean? My character that I was playing. Okay, so that was a very hard role to play. And plus, it was just only my second time performing in US dialect, so I had to hire a US dialect coach in Paige Walker as well. So it's just like what I'm talking about is that I've never been a cop. I've never been a crooked cop. So there are some things you need help with. How are you going to play the crooked cop? Or just like how are you going to play like a female crooked cop? Or how are you going to play like a femme fatale? Or you don't seem like a femme fatale in real life, right? So do you get where I'm coming from?
I do, yeah. I
Yeah,
think it's
because
definitely like you got to build that team as well. I think you put yourself in a vulnerable situation because you're putting trust in people to get to reach this character and to find what triggers they have and what makes them tick and do things that they're doing that we then see on screen.
okay, so have you ever played a role when you needed like an expert, like somebody who you looked up to, like an acting coach, or you feel that somebody as an actor is more experienced than you? Have you ever had that kind of challenge before just yet?
Yeah, I think, look, every role I do, even if I really relate to them, I have a friend who is so good at analyzing scripts. And I always go through a script with her, and she just finds things in it and goes, see this line, this tiny little line, this is like a defining factor. And it could just be the way you do an inflection of a line or something. But yeah, I think, I just had to realize that I did need help with it. It's not all just, you got to get out of your head, really. You need to use people together to create a project. It's not just all about the actor. It's about working with your creative team and your support network as well to get this character to create an authentic experience for a viewer, audience, whoever's watching.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because even though the context is the same the whole time, right? Like in each scene,
Mm,
and sometimes you just like what your friend says. Okay, see this line here, it means this. So if she says she's gonna kill you, she's gonna kill you, or
mm.
she could end up saying no, she's just mucking around. Oh, I'm gonna kill you for that. Like she could have analyzed it that way, you know. So I think is that what she's trying to say, or like
Yeah, yeah.
similar.
So she's helped me through all sorts of projects. Like, it's been theatre projects, or it's been, um, what else has it been? Oh, like one of them was like an English period drama. Actually, they were all English period dramas, but all different time periods. And she was just really good at her research in terms of what was going on with society at those times and status of characters. So I played like a low status character, and she's like, Chelsea, you're used to playing high status characters. You really need to figure out. You need to get into that character's life. What was life like for that person below stairs rather than being part of the family upstairs? So she would help me analyze those things. And it was small moments that really helped. It was things like the way you would enter a room. As a low status character, you're going to be a lot quieter. You're not going to burst in with all this confidence. Whereas when you're part of the family, you walk in, you own this house, this is your place. Whereas if you're playing the maid or something, you're going to walk in, and this is your place of work, and this is your whole life. So you can't go stuffing that up in a way that you could with being the family.
Yeah, character context is actually important.
Mm.
Yeah, because like what you said, you're playing the maid. It's not like, hey, hey, what's up? It's like you're gonna, hey, hey, ma'am, oh,
Yeah.
hey, sir. What would you like me to start with today? You want me to vacuum your rooms or clean the kitchen? So you're more professional. So compared to like, you go into like, a family gathering like tonight, like what you said, it's going to be different. It's going to be like, oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. And then afterwards, hey, bye, everyone. Thanks for coming. So your demeanor, everything will be different compared to you playing a maid, or even if you played, a soldier, you know what I mean, or like the boss
Absolutely.
babe. Yeah, so the boss babe, you'd be more assertive, or even like as a cop, if you played a cop as well, or a detective, you'll be more assertive and authoritative compared to being that nice Chelsea to who you really are in real life. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's just like different sides of you, how you can relate. And one of the things that my acting coach actually keeps reminding us: have your childlike acting skills on, just like the childlike faith that the Bible actually preaches, that's being faithful to God. Do it to yourself as well in your acting skills,
Yeah,
because
I
remember when
love
we
the
were
way you
kids,
put
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah, because remember, like when we were little kids, right? For me, I used to think I'm Batman, Superman, and I remember just saying to a guy, one of my neighbors back then, "Hey, look, did you know I'm Batman?" Yeah, no, you're not. That's what he said to me.
And
Of course,
it's
I
just that
wasn't.
absolute belief, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, back then I was thinking, "Oh, this guy's an idiot," but I was the idiot. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I'm not Batman. I mean, I'm not Bruce Wayne's not Asian. So it's just one of those
Do you know what
things.
that reminds me of, though? You know the movie Hook, Robin Williams? And they
Yeah,
go to
Rufio, you're talking about.
which
Is
one,
it
sorry?
Rufio? Rufio. You're talking about Rufio, the character.
I
in
don't
Hook.
know the character's name, but I just know they go back to Neverland and like he's like an adult who was Peter Pan or something. And, you
Yep.
know, there's nothing on the table to eat. And all the lost boys are eating the food and everything and having this feast. And it wasn't until he really let himself sink into it that all of a sudden this beautiful feast had arrived and it was all this incredible experience. And I really try to use that as a reminder is if you've got a green screen behind you or you're looking out onto something that and it's just, you know, it's an empty theater, use that Peter Pan mindset. You're back to being a kid, you're never growing up and you can imagine whatever you want.
Yeah, even using your imagination, Peter.
Imagination.
It's like you're doing it. Doing what? Using your imagination, Peter. It's like, hey, Rufio, why don't you get this? Like, with that little thing. And
Yeah.
he literally gets some cake in his face, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's
that's
just that
that
that total
yeah.
like sink into it, just so with your whole heart believe it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, right. You want to believe it with all your heart because, like, what made that scene come true for Peter Pan is because he literally believed that there was actually something in his spoon. Hey, Rufio, check this out. Yeah, because my brothers and I back in the early '90s, we weren't even born yet, but we used to watch that all the
I'm late
time, and
90s.
like, yeah, exactly, right. So, but anyway, I'm that old and I don't mind. But anyway, that's the good thing about that, right? Yeah, because the Lost Boys can actually give us an idea of what it's like to have childlike, faith in acting in the context of acting, and just using that imagination. Don't worry what other people think. If I really thought that I was Batman back then, I was really Batman. If you actually thought that you were, I mean, not that Elsa existed back then, maybe she did, but you could be Elsa or you could be Catwoman. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Oh,
this is
I love it. I'll take it.
yeah. So I'd like
Cast me
to.
right now. I'm ready.
Oh, done, done. So I'm gonna give you, when we work together in the near future, Chelsea, and everyone can actually listen to this as well. I'm gonna cast you as some femme fatale, okay? Because I want to challenge you in that one, yeah, yeah.
Yay.
So bring the inner boss babe, like what a lot of ladies actually call
Boss
themselves, the
babe.
boss babe. Exactly, yeah. So you're in charge of this interior designing company. Just pretend that way. But anyway, I'll leave it up to you, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Okay.
Yeah, love it.
Awesome.
Looking forward to it.
Yep. Oh, I'm already excited. Yeah. But anyway, so the next question will be: so please tell us about your experience as a stand-in double and picture double for Elizabeth Moss in Invisible Man. So this is a fascinating thing for me. That's why I picked this question.
I loved that experience so much, and I feel so privileged that I worked full time as a stand in and picture double for Elizabeth Moss for that film directed by Lee Winnell. So the premises of a stand-in though is you basically stand in for the actor. So when they're setting up the shots for a film, they'll have you or me in the same hair, makeup, costume as the actor. And what it is, it's going through the camera setup. So we'll do an establishing shot, say it's walking through the house. We'll get the camera following me to understand how that's going to do. And you do the rehearsal. Then they bring the actor in, watch it once, and then we shoot. And so really this helps with being productive with the time on set, as well as allowing the actor to be fully focused in the scene rather worrying about technical aspects the full time. And then as a double, you actually are being filmed as that character. A lot of the time it's more close-up shots. So it'll be in The Invisible Man, it was a lot of hands, back of the head. What else was it? Just kind of distant scenes as well, like driving, that sort of thing. So I worked on The Invisible Man full time for about 3.5 months. It was just the best experience. It was a thriller, and I was given the script, and every day I went on set with another scene, and it was like that movie on set. Like it felt so scary on set because it was so good. Like it's so immersed into what that set was like. But it was the best learning experience as an actor as well because I all day was on set just watching these actors do their things, like very professional actors who were so focused, so involved in the craft, and I got to be part of that and have them mentoring me. And they were amazing to me. I was a little 19-year-old at the time, and it was just the most incredible experience. I cannot speak highly of it. And just learning a script and getting to work closely with the directors and all the ADs and seeing how the set came to life, locations, everything. It was just such a world of, like, it was just fully immersed into that world of being an actor and being on set, and the hours that it was like, how call sheets worked, everything like that in a totally professional aspect. And it was, it wasn't an acting class. I wasn't just, coming in, turning up. It was just, boom, you're on location tomorrow in Gerringong, see you there at 7 a.m. And it was just like, yeah, you have to be professional, you have to be focused, and just go for it. And it was incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Because, 3.5 months of doing it, you got the feel of what it's like to be in the big time, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you've gone there, you don't want to go back. You just want to keep wanting that type of experience more and more. But you know what? That's earlier in your career. Let that experience mold you, and just let that experience actually drive you, and let that you know what it's like to be on that set, even though you may not have had much dialogue or barely any dialogue. I don't know, but it was just a good experience for you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people who are looking at you in your shoes, especially ladies who have very similar features to you, like just looks wise and all that stuff. Oh, how come she got the role but I didn't? You know what I mean? The people who chose you actually saw some potential in you to be that stand-in double. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it may be a small deal for them, but it's a big deal for you. Because you made things come. You made the project happen in your own way. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's just totally embracing it. And look, with auditions and castings, it can feel really hard and disheartening, because it's always, it does come down to how you look. And regardless of what you are, you're always going to be judged for it, and you feel like you're never going to be what they're looking for. But I think the best advice that I got really from Elizabeth Moss herself was, you are what you are and you can't change it, so just embrace it. And
Mm-hmm.
whether that, is your shoulder width, your height, your hair color, your eye color, your personality traits, the way you speak, your voice, you have to embrace who you are, whatever that is, because it will work out if you are consistent and love it enough.
Yep. It all ties to self-belief as well, because self-belief comes. It's a contagious thing, because whether you and I have self-belief or not, people can actually sense that. You know what I mean? Especially the ladies have strong intuition. Just the ladies can actually feel my energy if they can. You know what I mean? They often can. Just like when you believe in yourself and when you start developing that self belief in yourself as a person and as an actor, it's going to resonate, and people are going to be more attracted to it. But you're going to have your doubters and all that stuff. But the good thing about self belief is that you develop not to think about like what other people think about you. It's all about just you as Chelsea Widdicombe believing in yourself. I may not get this audition. Oh, this is the kind of audition or role that I want for this movie. This is my dream role. But then hypothetically, you've been shortlisted 2 or 3 times and you may not get it and all that stuff. It may be disheartening, but guess what? A lot of people, like maybe 10 other people actually audition for that role, but you've been shortlisted once or twice. In a way, it's a blessing, because you're doing something right. But, the good thing about this industry is that, like what you said, you cannot control your look. Okay. You've been blessed with whatever, however you've been blessed with the way you look and your personality and the way you handle things and all that stuff. Right. But what you can control is just keep developing your craft as an actor and even as a person. Actually, the second one's more important, because you're a person first before an actor. You know what I mean? Because who you are as a person will help you develop your social skills. And of course, auditioning is a big part of the process of being successful in this industry. But overall, the most important skill in life to actually to be successful is social skills. And I'm pretty sure you've also met talented people in this industry, but when you socialize with them, they're awkward. Nothing against them, but they're awkward. but you cannot converse with them because you don't know how to relate to them. I mean, you've had that experience before, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can do so much to improve your acting skills, but really it does come down to the acting world being a business, and you can't deny that, you can't change that. So, how are you going to work with it? It's a good question to ask yourself.
Oh yes, yes, the business side of things, because there's so many actors you see in movies, right? And you're like, oh, this guy or this girl was actually in that movie, but nobody knows their name. They walk around, people don't know what their name is, but it's the people who are more successful, the marketable ones, or the people who see good potential. And when it comes to that business side of things, of course, when we get that breakthrough role, they see potential in us so that we can make money back for them. That's how it is, because why do you think Tom Cruise, even, because obviously he produces his own films and he's got all these big time sponsors, right? Like he can walk around IBM around the corner in St. Leonard's here. He could say, look, can you spare me $20 million just to be one of the sponsors for my next Mission Impossible movie? You know what they're going to say? Oh, hell yeah. Because you know why? Because it's going to come back to them because
Mm,
they're going to use IBM products and all that stuff. So that's just a hypothetical speaking because it's a business. You know what I mean? Because you and I as actors, we can't just go to IBM. It's like, oh, I got this big movie, blah, blah, blah. And like, who are you? See, that's what I mean. We can't hold it against them if they react that way. It's because we haven't had that break yet. And once we get that break, you're going to be in a position to actually do more negotiating because that's the business side of things. It's beyond just acting. You know what I mean? So, you as Chelsea, you could also be
absolutely.
a successful actor, and you can be, you can have your own interior designing company one day. Never say never in that. You know.
Exactly. I mean, I just embrace everything as much as I can. And I think that's why I've got interior design behind me because I love it. I mean, people love their homes. I mean, I love watching those women architectural digest videos of actors in their houses. And I think, there's designers behind those, but there's also like the HGTV worlds of presenting for interiors and homes and real estate. And so I think allowing yourself to be open to opportunity and to business and what makes it go around. I love it. I just think it's so interesting and there's so much opportunity and so many directions to go in. So it excites me a lot.
Of course, and that's the good thing about it, right? Because I'm a firm believer in paying your bills with your actions, passions. Yeah. Okay. So if you're
Mm.
passionate about like what you are about interior designing, you're not gonna when you're interior designing, you're not gonna be born like, oh, I wish I was on set right now, blah blah. I don't have to put up with this crap.
I don't know.
Um, oh, maybe, maybe not. But I was just assuming that anyway. Or at least
No,
sometimes,
it's funny,
at
isn't it?
least, yeah. See, that's the thing. Because aside from being in front of the camera, I love personal training because of my martial arts background. You know what I mean? Because that's the only thing that I enjoy when I'm in the gym training people or just giving them advice on health and fitness, or even personal trainers like myself or counselors. We hear about people's problems often, not all the time, but we often hear about relationship problems with their spouse or their girlfriend, boyfriend, or their kid, or even with their boss at work and all that stuff. I hear about it, but the only advice I could give to them is listen. But that comes for free with the package. But I love doing it because it's a passion. When I'm training people, I just don't feel like I'm working. It's like I'm getting paid just for something that I want to do. So yeah, but
It's
it's the same thing. I
fantastic.
mean, yeah, but you can relate to that as well, right? Like as an interior designer, to some extent at least.
Yeah, it's very personal. I mean, you're going into people's homes and you're hearing about how they live and everything. And so, yeah, I think that's where personal training and interior design can actually really relate because it's dealing with people and their lives and like personally what's going on.
Yeah, that's right, right. And then they have a vision of how they want their houses or even their offices like this to look like. But you can critique them or you can give them advice on what they want, what their consultation is actually, their request is, right? Like because am I correct there? Like they can ask you certain stuff. I want my house to look like this, and this, or my office to look like this, and this. Isn't that a part of your consultation as well? Or
Definitely.
okay, good assumption that I just had. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah, because like it's all about just serving the people in their own way. Because a happy home and a happy work life is actually essential for your mental health and self-esteem. I've had to learn that the
Yeah.
hard way. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a
Big
good
believer
thing.
in that. Yeah.
Woo! There we go. We're on the same page with that. Anyway, so next question here. So, what was the experience like to have your first speaking role on Deadly Women?
That was really fun. I had done work as a background extra, which was fun. And I had, learnt what it was like on set, really got the feel and the vibe for it. And then one day, I got this job on the TV show Deadly Women, and it was really fun. It was out at Wiseman's Ferry, which was cool. It was a historic scene, and I hadn't seen the script prior to the day. It was a really like literally you go through hair and makeup. Here's your script, and had all the corsets on. It was a historical thing. But it was really cool. It was set in US, so it was US dialect as well. And I just remember like I had my line and it was like, I'll have my regular Johnny. And it was about like ordering a drink at the bar. And it was really fun. I hadn't done really anything like that on a set. And I was just so excited. I just loved it. And a few of the people that I was on set with that, I've seen them on other sets since. So it's really nice. And we always talk about that experience of, oh, I remember that time on Deadly Women at Wiseman's Ferry and we were ordering drinks at the bar and all of that. It was really funny.
Oh wow! And Wiseman's Ferry, that's just like around 40 minutes away from Castle Hill, right?
Yeah, yeah. You kind of just go out past Dural and you just kind of keep going until you hit Wiseman's Ferry.
Oh, okay, I haven't been there since the mid '90s, I think. So that's the last time I
Yeah.
can remember I was there. So yeah, because like we used to go fishing there with a local Filipino church group and all that stuff, or just sometimes we do a quick night sleepover or just a couple of nights, you know what I mean? Like over there in the tennis court and just the wharfs over there were good for fishing. So and some of the locals there were just like pretty friendly. And I remember like as a little kid, like there's this nice older man, right? Like he's like truly dinky die Aussie kind of guy, and he was just crabbing, and he got his one of his crab cages, and he caught this big mud crab, and we were just so fascinated. Oh, yeah, and he's like, oh, look at this, boys. Oh, my wife and I are gonna have like a good tucker tonight, and very dinky die, right? And and he just goes, oh, you want to have a closer look? And then he grabbed my hand. He pretended to put my hand inside next to the yeah,
Oh,
no. And then I ran off, and I'm just like, oh. And he goes, oh, come on, mate. I wasn't going to do that. I was just going to joking. Come on. And I went back, and I made friends with the old man. I can't remember what his name was, but I remember that. So it was like for that split second, oh, no. Like, he grabbed my hand pretending he's going to put it next to the claw of the crab, you know what I mean? So that would have snapped my finger in half, in my opinion, but who knows? Yeah.
oh
So
my
what was it like?
gosh.
Yeah, I know, but that was back in '94. This is way before you were born again. So yeah, I keep bringing it up. But late 1994, actually, around Christmas time. But yeah, so I don't know, like, whereabouts in Wiseman's Ferry were you actually filming your scene anyway? Is it in the, what do you call it, the takeaway shop, in the tuck shop there, or what?
I think it was right next door, actually. It was the Wiseman's Ferry Inn.
Oh, is it
And I
in?
think they were filming there because we were filming in a few different areas of it. There was a downstairs bit where it had the historic look to it. And I think that was a big draw for them. And it had like big, heavy draperies and everything like that. And then very dim lighting, smoke machines, really to give it that sort of dingy downtown look. It looked amazing. I remember walking in at the time thinking, wow. And then hair and makeup was up in some of the hotel rooms and they also had that historic look. So that was also good preparation because I went in really, I didn't have the script until like that moment. So it was really good. Going through hair and makeup in this historic setting really helped to get into the character.
Oh, okay, and that's a heritage listed kind of venue, isn't it?
I'm not sure. I mean, it probably is. I'm not 100% on the specifics, but I know it's been there for a long time. And if it did have that historical look to it, it probably would be, yeah.
Yeah, because I can't. It's been so long, since I've been to Wiseman's Ferry, and I can vaguely remember, like, some of the old school looking, like, as if like during the early 1900s, where it's colonial still and all that stuff. So
Yeah, like that Australian colonial look. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah. So yeah, I got to check it out one day. So I don't think public transport's going to allow me to get there because it's going to be
No, I
hard to
think
get.
you're gonna have to go for a little road trip.
Yeah, why not? So yeah, so living in Chatswood here, like I just I don't need a car. You know what I mean? I could probably invest in a car one day, but it's just like I got public transport ready available for me. Like even going out to your area now, we've got the metro.
Yeah.
I don't need a car. So yeah, but it's just I'll cross that bridge when I get there. Yeah. So but yeah, speaking of that, yeah, because like it's another big set that you were in. Of course, like I've never seen an episode of Deadly Women, but in my acting class or even my fellow actors would talk about it every now and then about how it's all mostly ladies who are still talking about this stuff and they love it. You know what I mean? And from what I can understand, it's actually like in the older days of America, right? Like, am I correct?
Yeah, it was all different time periods. It would swap episode to episode. And it was about basically it was about women who were killers, and it was the stories of how that happened. So I wasn't the killer, but I kind of wish I was. That would have been fun. But yeah, it was basically these women, whether it was a situation they were in and like abuse or something, it was really just telling those stories. So it was a really interesting premises for a show.
Oh, okay. Now I'm curious now. So is it on Netflix? Because I might start watching it now.
I'd have to check. It's when you go online and you say where to watch things, I'd have to
Oh yeah,
double check that one. I
yep.
think it might be on like 7+ or one of those kind of ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll check if it's at Netflix or even on YouTube first. So
Yep,
YouTube.
maybe YouTube is a good place to start.
Okay. Maybe Disney Plus. I mean, I don't have Disney Plus yet,
There's
but
so many nowadays; it's hard to keep up.
I can't even be bothered because like I'm there sometimes like watching about in my downtime. I'm just about to let's check Netflix or what's available. There's too many to choose from. I'm just like I'm contemplating. Okay, this or that, this and then I'll watch first 5 minutes and I'm not interested. I'm going to watch another something else, something new, and it occurs again. Oh, I'm not interested because it's like first 5 minutes didn't really interest me. There's just too much to to choose from, and that's the downside of stuff like Netflix and Disney Plus. So
I know we have way too much access to all of these shows and films.
I know, but you know what? That's my problem. I need to deal with. It's just like
It's a good problem to have, hey?
indecisiveness. I hate being indecisive, but you know what? I'm human. But
You
it is
spend
what
too
it
much
is.
time deciding what to watch that you don't end up watching anything.
That's right. Or I just end up watching just YouTube videos and like murder cases or like this and that. Because sometimes, like just that's what I'm in the mood for. Because like police investigation stuff. Believe it or not, back in the day when I was a little boy, I wanted to be a cop, but that died down subconsciously. I didn't recognize that it died down until
Now you
later
get
on
to
in the.
play one instead.
Yes, and that's my typecast. I used to play a cop, and a lot of Asian actors who I know, male actors, they're kind of like, oh, how come I always get to play the role that of an accountant or a chef or a taxi driver, the boring roles? How can you get how do you get like the roles of a soldier or a cop? Because you got to look the part, because if you don't like the way you're being typecasted, work out, get a haircut, so you can't change your height, but you can actually work out, get a haircut, or just look the part, or do your own passion projects where you can prove to them that you can play the roles that you want to play. It's as simple as that. No use nagging about it because it's not going to get you anywhere. Period.
Yeah, I think Tom Cruise actually said something like that. He was like, you've got to project what it is that what you want to be. So it's like, don't say, oh, I think I'm going to do that. Say, I am that. And then that's one step closer to.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise, and I'm going to take that advice on board because he's the man. He's the biggest seller in the box office. Yeah. But thank you, Uncle
It's
Tom.
incredible what he's done. Yeah.
Oh, big time. Yeah. Uncle Tom, if you're actually listening to this, thank you from the bottom of my heart for keeping inspiring me to do my own passion projects. I'm pretty sure that Chelsea can relate to that to some way, shape,
Thank
or
you,
form, I
Tom.
suppose. I call him Uncle Tom because he's the
Uncle
same
Tom.
age as he's the same age as my dad anyway. So yeah. Okay, so next question here. So please tell us about any highlights you had playing as Edna in an Inspector Calls for Castle Hill Players Club in that theatre.
Yeah, that was a great experience again. So that was this year, 2024. It was a really cool experience. So I was Edna, the maid, and again, this is where I was playing. I'd played a lot of English ladies of society before, and so I was playing Edna, the maid. So it was really cool to play that dynamic and yeah, kind of look after the household and everything like that. But it was a really good society to be a part of. It was such a professional experience with theatre. And with theatre, it's amazing because I think we did 15 or 16 shows throughout February of this year. And with theatre, you know, every night, every performance, you've got a new set of audience coming in to watch that show. And so it has to be perfect for them because they're experiencing that for the first time. So I think putting all your energy into that show every single time is again really good training. It's a big commitment. It takes a lot out of you, but is also a really rewarding experience.
And what was the venue at? Was it in Castle Hill RSL or?
Yeah, there's a theatre in Castle Hill Showground, which is it's actually linked to Hill Showground station on the metro now. And they've got a
Mm.
really good space there. From the outside, it kind of looks like a random building, but in the inside, it's a really good tiered theatre. It seats over 150 people in there. Great lighting setup, sound setup, everything. So
Oh, okay. I think I could be wrong. This is where the Hill Centre used to be, right? Because like
it is
before.
actually, yeah, yeah.
Oh, voila. That's what I thought. Because when you said theatre, because I remember, like, before I moved here to the North Shore, I could vaguely remember that the Hill Centre was demolished and apparently they're going to rebuild something even better.
Yeah,
But
well, we're not
yeah,
in like it's not a new building that we're in. I think it's actually like 50-year-old building or something, but it's in that vicinity, like where the Hills Centre used to be. Like it's in that you drive in there and it's in that same complex.
yeah, because I remember, like, in the earlier days of when Hillsong Church used to be called Hills Christian Life Center, because, like, my family and I were part of that church back then. That's where they used to hold the Sunday services, morning and evening.
Oh, right. Yeah, because it was a big
Yeah,
venue, that one.
yeah, it was. But obviously, that church had to get its own venue because they were growing. But yeah, so this was because I reckon if I step foot in there, it's going to be so nostalgic of back when I was a little boy. Just that restless little boy who was often getting trouble in Sunday school. uh, yeah, so those were the days, and I'm like thinking, oh, I remember this is when my mom was yelling at me or my dad was yelling at me to be the bad boy in Sunday school. So
Well, they
yeah.
often say you remember the things that went wrong or when you were bad, sometimes more so than the good things, which is kind of sad but funny at the same time.
Oh, we can laugh about it now, but back then it was so embarrassing. My mum and
Yeah,
dad were kind of yelling at me in front of everybody. It's like, Mom, I don't want to get embarrassed here. But it's just, in a way, I deserved it because, looking back, I could laugh at it. But this is, it's not, what do you call it, traumatizing for me anymore, but it's just something I could laugh at.
you
So,
can look back on it. You can reflect.
yeah. Because I was just like, I don't know, what do you call it, the Asian Bart Simpson back then. So I don't know what got into me, but I think it's martial arts and acting that just got me more disciplined and like,
Mm.
put my energies into other things instead. So yeah, but that little boy is still in me, but it's just that I expend that energy somewhere else instead of just running amok to other people because otherwise I could be in jail already. Thank God I'm not. Thank you, Lord, I'm not in jail. Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, and
uh,
good job, McGill.
oh, like, glory to him. But yeah, but that's the thing about theater, right? And you're just being in the moment. You can't just go, oh crap, can we start up again? The director in the middle of the performance, they can't actually tell you, hey, okay, cut from the top. You just have to play by it. If you stuff up, if you feel that you stuff up, you just have to improvise. Or sometimes you have to improvise to save your fellow actor on stage because they forget their lines or they just forget their dialogue and they just forget to do something. You can remind them of that. So yeah. But I'm sure you've
Yeah,
had those experiences as well in theatre. in your own
I mean,
theatre
there's no cut,
performance.
there's no reset, there's no director's notes. I mean, you do all that work in rehearsals, and then as soon as you have opening night, basically the director hands the show over to the stage manager, and it becomes something different. And you just have to go with it, and you have to put a lot of trust in your fellow actors and your stage crew, and work together. And also with theatre, you really do vibe off the audience a lot, and that can really change the show sometimes. So it's an incredible experience, and really good training, because I think it makes you a better screen actor as well, because there
Mm.
is that pressure. Yes, I need to know my lines. Yes, I have to know this show inside out. I have to know my cues. Everything has to be sharp. It's really good. Really great experience.
Oh, of course, of course. It's like, it's still acting, but it's like rugby league and rugby union, same sport but different rules. And yeah, so
Yeah.
we can apply different principles because obviously for me, I feel that theatre for me is more of a sprint. Just being out like, hey everybody, hey Chelsea, good to see you, my friend. What's up? Anyway, today's show, like, it's going to be like that, like, a bit of a energetic thing, and because otherwise they can't feel it. Because if we're talking
Yeah.
to them, yeah. So if we're talking to
I
them just the
think you
way we're
have to
talking.
also make it look like you don't want it to look like you're thinking about what to say next. You really want it to look like you're reacting to what's going on stage, because yeah, you've done this show 100 times, but you don't want it to look like that. You need it to look like in the moment, like you're shocked, and how are you going to show that? Or this is a scary situation, or the inspector's coming for you. Oh, what are you going to do? You have to react. You don't want to be thinking too much ahead. Somehow it's like your body goes into a meditation, and you have to just let the show express itself through your body.
Yeah, just being in the moment, like what you said, because obviously you react better and you perform better being in the moment. Just just like with anything, you think too much about it, it's not going to look convincing. So when you're thinking too much about your dialogue, like what my current acting coach says, whether it's theatre or film, when you're saying your lines, you're not saying it to yourself. You're saying it to that person. So, for example, we're playing in a romantic movie right now. Chelsea is like, "Oh, Chelsea, look, I'm glad I found you. I can't live without you." I'm saying that to you, not to me. So there's a difference between just like if I'm practicing that dialogue and yeah, all of a sudden I'm in love with myself. No, no, no. I'm not in love with myself. I'm in love with Chelsea's character. So do you get what I'm saying? Because it's like, you saying it to them and you're saying it like a question so that they can react. So you know what I mean? Because if I just say, "Oh, I love you," oh, okay. What do you mean you love me? So there's no reaction there. But if you say it as a question, as a reaction, then it's better. So you can
Definitely.
your character can react to it. "Oh, Migs, I love you, but I love somebody else." I'm like, "What?" So you know what I mean? Like, there's a reaction to that. It's just like it's like that. What do you call it? The rom com that's just gone wrong. The guy who's thought he's in love with a girl, and all of a sudden, no, she chose somebody else. I'm gonna cry about it. Yeah, yeah, because we were talking about that. My mate Hassan and I were just talking about that during dinner last night, like Kimber, and how, like, we could, like, because we shared about like how we've been rejected by women, like, all that stuff, and us guys, we're used to it, right? But like, of course, it can be heartbreaking, especially if we're in love with a girl. But at the same time, um, when I told them, "Look, bruh, if you're not interested in a girl, no point leading her on. You can reject her in a civil way." But guess what? In most cases, the ladies actually take rejection a lot more harsh than us because they're not used to it as much as us. So
Mm.
you can use that in your acting thing. You know what I mean? So if your character actually is in love with another guy, but that guy's a player, sees different women, blah blah blah, and you get heartbroken, you could use that somehow. You know what I mean? Whether or not you've gone through that in real life, that's your business, but you can use that. You know what I mean? So I thought he was in love with me. Yeah. So we're getting a
Oh,
bit off
absolutely.
topic.
I feel it.
Yeah, I might have just given you some ideas in your new theatre gig or your new passion project. I mean, you could be Romeo and Juliet, and you could have your own version of Taylor Swift's song. You know what I mean? Like, the love story. And yeah, you know what I mean. Before we go on to the last question, like, I can tell you this, that I started liking that song one time, second last time I visited Manila, because there's these two, lovely teenage girls who sang that song, and when they were singing it as a duo, they're singing it like they sound exactly like Taylor Swift. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
wow.
yeah, and then that's what I mean. So, but if you want to do that love story, have your own Romeo and Juliet version. You know what I mean? So yeah, so you can be Juliet. You can find your Romeo. Put it on Star now, casting Romeo from yeah. So anyway, that's an idea for you because those kind of roles suit you, I reckon. Yeah, I'm not saying that's the only roles that will suit you. That genre suits you well, but that's why, even though that
I
suits you
like
well, I'm
that
gonna.
genre. I think I naturally suit it, and so I think I've really leaned into that as well.
Yeah, why not? Because I can tell that's your passionate genre. So if that's the case, work on your strengths first before your weaknesses. Because when time
Very
goes by,
true.
when you've had enough gigs playing the Juliet kind of princess kind of roles, you can shift into a bit more femme fatale roles or the boss babes or whatever you call it. So yeah, just to show your versatility, because more than anything, there's more to Chelsea as an actor than meets the eye. You know what I mean? So yeah. So and that's another thing, because I'm trying to break my own stereotypes and all that stuff, even for myself. The next fashion project I'm doing, I'm going to be in a vulnerable position where I don't have any power, but you'll see what I mean. Okay, so it's just one of those things. But last question for you, Chelsea, is: do you have any words of encouragement for our fellow actors who are struggling with discouragement?
Yeah, I think if you really love it, keep going with it. Follow your passion, follow your dream. But also uh, be intelligent, have another job. Don't solely rely on it. I think it's really important to be able to support yourself because you don't want to, not be making it where you think you should be and then getting upset and depressed. I don't think that's worth it. So look after yourself and your well-being and get involved as much as you can, whether it means joining local theatre and connecting with fellow creatives. Be a support, be on Instagram and find what you love and how can you be part of it.
Well, that's an awesome advice there. Yeah, and it all falls down to creating your own passion projects as well, or even it all falls down to maybe just starting off with student short films. For those of you who are listening, okay, especially with a few actors who I know are listening to this right now, who are just starting out in acting, create your own passion projects. Start from the bottom, because there's no point starting 2 or 3 notches up and then all of a sudden you're going to get overwhelmed by that. You need to start from the bottom. Do some extras work like what Chelsea and I have. First couple of years, I did extras work as well. And, of course, it's not ideal, but you'll be grateful that you went through it, because that's your foundation. Yeah. But it's been a pleasure having you on board, Chelsea. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope you have a good night tonight at your old man's
Thank you.
event. But that's pretty much it. Everybody who's listening, if you haven't done so yet, please press the like and subscribe buttons, and also put Chelsea's Instagram page on the description box below, so you can follow her and support her in her own journey if you want to. And I highly encourage that you do anyway. And this is Miguel, aka Mighty Migs, and thank you for tuning in. Until the next episode, have a good rest of the day. Adios.
Thanks, Miguel.